YouTube, what's happening? It is Sunday, July 21st, and as you can see, we have a full slate of baseball to talk about today. Drop a like, subscribe if you haven't, because yesterday, 12-7 plus 5.5 units back into the bankroll. That puts me back up to almost 70 units of profit for the whole season, which for baseball, we will take that anytime we can get it. Now, if you're new here, first off, let me welcome you. Welcome to the madness, because that's what this is. You can see I am a high volume bettor, so if you're here just for the plays, I apologize to you and your bankroll, because I make a lot of plays every day, because we don't do like most channels or other Twitter or whatever. We don't give out feel and vibes in 2-3 plays here. Nah, we break down every single game statistically, analytically, based on the data, and if it looks good, we play it. If it doesn't, we pass. Pretty straightforward around here. So, but sometimes we get high amount of plays. Like yesterday, 19 plays. That's a lot, I know. So if you're tailing me, be cautious. That's all I gotta say. And we're gonna be up, we're gonna be down. Just like last week, we had our best and worst day of the season in the same week. Monday or Tuesday, we were up like 11 or 12 units because it was a great, beautiful day. And then Sunday, the day before the All-Star break, we had our worst day. We went 4-11, lost like 8.2 units. It was a rough day. I attribute that more to the dudes ready for the break and didn't want to work anymore. That's all it is. Because you got to remember, these are baseball players, but to them, this is their job. And you and I both know how it comes. That day before the break gets here, you don't want to work. You just want to coast, worry about it next week, get to your break, go to vacation, have fun. So that's why I'm going to attribute that loss to. So we'll take it where we can get it. So overall, I appreciate you watching. This is what we do around here. We break every game down. I know the video's been kind of long here recently, but to me, I am trying to help out as much people as I can. And to do that, I'm going to speed up my process on each game. So I've already filmed this video. I'm going to tell you right now, I've already been through all the games. We're looking, it's under an hour. Hey, I'm making strides. I'm trying to get it to where we only spend about 3 minutes per game, times that by 15, that's 45 minutes. That's about the best I can do. So we're not going to get back down into the 25, 30-minute videos, but I'm trying to keep it well under an hour, because I know an hour is a long time to watch these things. So that being said, I'm done rambling. Drop a like, subscribe, and let's go ahead and jump into that first game right now. All right, before we jump to the first game, this is Outlier. This is who I use for my prop research, for my odds research, for my pitcher matchups, all of it. There's a link in the description. You get a free trial for a week. Click on that, sign up, check it out. It's awesome. You'll love it. I can guarantee that. So first game, we have Minnesota as a pretty heavy favorite. Over-under is currently sitting at 8. Looking at the bats, we see Milwaukee has the advantage offensively. 7.3 and 269 over the last 3 versus Minnesota's 3.3 and 187. That's clear an advantage for Milwaukee if I've ever seen one. So advantage Milwaukee on the bats. Looking over at the pitching, Joe Ryan's going out for Minnesota, and he struggled in his last game against San Fran. He struggled against Arizona. He's been giving up a lot of hits too. 6.5, 6.6. You can see he's been struggling a little bit. Now, was he limping into the All-Star break, or has he just been not great recently? That's a couple we need to see. So he's trending in the wrong direction. Savali's going out there, newly acquired from Tampa Bay, new shiny toy. Rough game against the Dodgers, pitched great against Pittsburgh. So you can see his numbers here. I would say they're about the same pitcher. Nothing really stands out for either one of these. So I don't give an advantage either way on pitching. I do lean Milwaukee in the bats. So with these two pitchers, I can't trust Nerfy because we don't know what's going to happen. Yeah, I'm cautious on Nerfies. You know that. So let's look at some matchups. First off, Savale history versus the Twins. 2 home runs for Buxton and 15 at bats is something, but he's only batting 200. So that's kind of outside of that, nothing's really standing out. Minnesota versus righties, you can see real quick how they do. Nothing is standing out here at all. Looking at some props real quick for him. You have some 4.5 hits. He does give up a lot of hits, but Minnesota is hitting so poorly. I don't know if I can trust that. And I can't take it under because I hate taking under hits allowed. Just 4.5 is a low number. So, I mean, I lean this, but just not with Minnesota being so poor right now. Strikeouts is a no. I need something that stands out. Earn runs, walks, outs. See, nothing's really standing out. Now, if we go to Joe Ryan, his history versus the Brewers, nothing. I mean, he's been great over here. So it was only against 2 dudes. So that doesn't really mean much. Milwaukee versus righties, you can see Yelich is 317. Outside of that, nothing is really standing out in this column. And look at props. We have walks, strikeouts, no hits, earned runs, outs. Outs are starting to trend down. That's not good. So I am looking at hits. The only thing I like here is the fact that he's been giving up consistently 5 games in a row. He's given up at least 6 hits, except for this one here. And he's going up against Milwaukee, who was 269, which is 6th in the majors, 7.3 runs. The offense is clicking. Well, before the break, they were clicking, and plus the last game. Even the last game, they're batting 262, and they got 8 runs. So the offense is still doing their thing. So for this game, I'm going to take Ryan over 5.5 hits allowed. I'm not going to take any other props. I'm not taking a Nerfy. I lean Milwaukee on the side. If you really want to take a side prop, maybe Milwaukee, but I'm going to lay off on that. I'm not going to take a total in this one either. Nothing lines up in this one. So Ryan over 5.5 hits allowed. Move on to the next game. All right, next up we got St. Louis and Atlanta. You can see 45.7 Nerfy based on what they've done this year. Both are getting 4.7 runs a game currently in their last 3. 284 versus 238 advantage St. Louis in the batting average. Looking over at the pitchers, we got Schwallenbach going out there. You can see the stats. Has faced St. Louis recently. It was June 24th. 8 hits and 4 earned, 6 Ks. There's a stat about Schwallenbach I saw online. He's like 8-0 on Nerfies this year on his 8 starts or 8 games. So that's a crazy stat. So he doesn't really give up anything in the first inning. That's a good little note. I want to figure out how to implement stuff like that into the data some more too. So, but I got to figure out how to do that. So, but you can see he gives up some runs. He's had a great July, been pretty good so far. His counterpart is Mikolas, 5-3 the 1-1-2, has not faced the Bravos, got destroyed against Cincy, 5-2 great games, and he got destroyed against Cubs. So he's more up and down than an elevator could ever dream of. So, looking over at the props. Based on these two so far, I can't take the Nerfy. I mean, he might be 8-0, but I just can't trust it because they both pop off. And the bats are doing, as you can see, 4.7 runs for both. They're both in the top half when it comes to batting average. Pass on that. Side, I don't, either pitcher, I can't do either pitcher, to be honest. I don't lean aside. St. Louis slightly gonna lean on the bats, but I can't take that. And the total, what is the total? 8.5, maybe. Let's look a little closer at this. So we got Mikolas. You can see what he has done historically. Olson's got 2 home runs at 9 at bats. That's interesting while batting 444. I think Olson's going to go onto my home run list, home run total bases, prop list. So outside of that, you can see the Braves dudes like hitting off Mikolas. That's the thing. They like this. Not many at bats, and a lot of dudes have home runs here. So that's interesting. So let's look at some props for Mikolas. Outs, he's pretty consistent unless he gets rocked. So you can see 17.5 might be a play, might be the move. Strikeouts, hits, runs, walks, nothing standing out. Outs is the closest one. Look at Schwallenbach, you can see what he has done, how the Cardinals do. No home runs, a couple RBIs. The averages are there, not much data points. How the Cardinals do against righties, you can see all the numbers here. Burleson 329 stands out. Did I cover the Braves and how they do against righties? I don't think I did. Let me show real quick. You can see a lot of red on here, but you got some numbers like 285, things like that. So that's how it stands out. So for me, I'm concerned for Mikolas against the Braves because of the history, but I think the Cardinals have a better offense, so this one feels weird to me. And they just played a doubleheader yesterday, so they're probably going to be a little tired. So that factors in because they just played 2 games yesterday. For me, I'm going to lay off this game and just move on to the next one. All right, next game, Cincinnati and Washington. You can see that is basically a pick 'em out there. Over/under is currently set at 8.5. Look at the bats. We see that Cincinnati on a 3-game losing streak. Washington 2-game winning streak. 59.4 Nerfy based on what they've done this year. 3.7 and 184 for Cincinnati in the last 3 is not that good. Washington 5.3 and 237. Better, but still, okay. Washington's getting some runs, but they're middle average. Cincinnati is struggling to even hit the ball, 184. So let's look over at the props real quick. So far, what I am seeing is we have, we skipped right over the pitchers. Can't skip the pitchers. Let's look at this. So Irvin's first. He has had 2 absolutely abysmal starts. 9 hits, 6 earned in both of them. Before that, a beautiful gem against the Mets. And great games before that. He just fell apart right here. So we got to see, 2 games is starting to form a trend. We need to see what you do in the 3rd game. And Abbott, on the other hand, fell apart against Miami. Great game. middle of the road games. So you can see both pitchers can give up runs, and we need to see how both of these dudes bounce back from their most recent outings, which is their worst outing of the year so far, or the last few games. So now let's look at props, because I can't take a nerfy when both pitchers are giving up runs like that. I just can't do it, especially when Washington's bats are kind of hot. They're warmer than Cincy. I can't take a total because I can't trust Cincy to help the over, and I don't trust the pitchers to keep it under, so that total's out. I lean Washington from the bats, but then the pitching is just so rough. It's hard to tell with the pitching. I can't trust this. Can you trust this? If you want to back this dude, by all means, back this dude. I can't do it. So all those are out. So now let's look at props. Maybe some matches might change my mind a little bit. So first off, let's do some Abbott against Washington. Historically, we can see not many data points. Couple games you can see there. And how does Washington hit lefties? You can see there's a 300 for Thomas, there's a 385, there's a 296. Outside of that, there's a 100. I mean, it's up and down, so nothing stands out. Looking at the props, hits, strikeouts, I've already been through these. Nothing is really, the walks kind of stood out. I mean, he's been walking a good bit. His outs dropped, you can see. So I don't like any of Abbott's stuff. Irvin, his outs was pretty enticing for a second because he tends to be there, but these two games have been rough. Walks, he's been up and down. Strikeouts is a no. Hits, double nines. Earned runs, double sixes. So it's hard to tell in this game, just hard overall. So I don't like any props. I don't like the side. I don't like the total. I don't like the nerfy. So that means we're going to pass on this one, just move on to the next one. All right, next up, Tampa and New York. We got the Yankees as a pretty moderate favorite. At home, 9 is your total. Looking at the numbers, 42%, 43% nerfy based on what they've done this year. Both offenses 4 runs a game on average, 230 and 223. No real advantage there. So there's no advantage in the bats. Let's just be honest. They're dead even right now. We just got one trending up in Tampa after one game, and New York trending down after yesterday's game. So that's the only difference we have. Looking at the pitchers, we got Stroman going out there. He faced Tampa in his last game, went 4.1, had 7 hits and 1 earned. That's what he had. Before that, triple fives. You can see he's prone to give up runs. That's what he does. Baz only pitched 2 games, but one of them was 4.1 against the Yankees in his last game, 6 hits and 3 earned. So what I'm seeing is we had 2 pitchers that gave up hits. So the hits allowed prop is probably going to be in play. Nerfy is going to be out. I don't trust these pitchers. So I definitely don't trust Stroman. Baz is too new still, so I really don't know much about him this season overall. But I just don't. When you give him, that many hits, that worries me. So especially against the lineups we have, when the bats are both 14th in runs and they're both. I'll pass on those. I can't take a side because I don't know who's better between Stroman or Baz. Who would you pick? I can't pick between these two. Totals 9. They did play in their last game, and they had the last game was in Baz's game it was 5-4, but in Stroman's game it was 2-1. So it was like, okay, I mean, under perhaps that might, but I don't feel good about it. I just can't. So props, I've already looked at props a little bit. I feel good about some props. Let's see. We'll start with Baz. You can see history. Baz against the Yankees. Wells has a home run and 2 at-bats. Judge and Soto both have a home run and 5 and 2 at-bats. But Judge he's 1 for 5 against them. So I might throw Soto into my my hit tracker guy, home run bases, whatever you want to call it. So we'll do that. I want to pick Soto of the 2 because he's only had 2 at-bats. So hey, 2 for 2, I'll take it. We'll see if he goes 3 for 3. So and how does the Rays hit righties? Here you go. 300, 304. That's about it. That's the main ones to look at. So props, outs. I mean, there's only 2 games to go on. Strikeouts, 4.5 is your number. That's not bad. That's a good number. I like that for us. But Yankees, as you see, aren't striking out much. They're 4th in the last 3 games. So I'm going to leave that alone because I like the hits better. 7 and 6. That's 4.5. You can see decent juice. The Yankees have the bats to do it. I'm liking the over 4.5 hits allowed. Earned runs is at 2.5. Yeah, on Stroman, him versus the Rays historically. Lowe has a home run and 14 at bats. Outside of that, not much to talk about. Walls is 571, 7 at bats. Not much. How does the How do the Rays hit righties? You can see There's a 301 for Rosario. Outside, there's a lot of ones on here. So, yeah, I don't trust. Yeah, I don't like that. So, look at the props again. Outs, they're trending down for Stroman. That's not good. Strikeouts, he's, no. Peaks and valleys. Hits, they're trending up. I like that. They're going up 4.5. He's done it in the last 3 of the games. Yeah, I can take that. I'm going to ride with that. Earn runs, I don't like that. Walks, I thought about walks, but the juice is so high. Look at that juice. 200. I can't. I'd rather take hits. I think he can get hits. So I'm going to take that. So in this game, all I'm going to take is Stroman and Baz both to give up 4 or over 4.5 hits allowed for both of them. No sides, totals, Nerfy, none of that. Nothing stands out there. So just those 2 props. Move to the next game. All right, next up we got Phillies and Pirates. We have the Phillies as a pretty moderate favorite on the road. 9 is your total. Looking at the bats, 48.1% Nerfy based on what they've done this year. A lot of P's on that screen for Pittsburgh. 3.7 and 214 average for Philly in the last 3 versus Pittsburgh 7 runs and 340 average. So the bats clearly favor Pittsburgh in this one. You could see they've been on fire. They are 126 points better in batting average in the last 3 games. They're 3.3 runs better. They are just on fire with the bats. Looking over at the pitchers, we got a couple newbies basically. Marco has only pitched 1 game since April, and that was against the White Sox. You can see he did face Philly 6-2, but that was in April, so we're not even going to talk about that one. So it does not matter, not to me at all. So because yeah, so you can see how he did there. And then Phillips has only pitched 2 games, period. And you can see how he did in 2 games. Great game against the Braves. Oakland got him a little bit. Don't be sleeping on them Oakland bats now. So that's what you get there. So we have 2 pitchers that pretty unproven so far in the last couple weeks. So yeah, I lean the over just from the 2 pitchers. And then we have Pittsburgh that's on fire. And Philly, I have noticed, they crush them some lefties, do they not? This is Marco's stats. You can see how they're done against him. Castellanos 357 and 14 at bats. 556. Not many bats between these. 500 for Schwarber. Against lefties, though, we got some 333. We got a 330, 315, 317, 331, 301. Yeah, Philly likes them some lefties, do they not? So I am going to override what this says because I think Philly's going to get them some runs today because of the statistics. Because if you like lefties, you like lefties. So, so I think Philly gets some runs for sure. And then over here for Phillips, obviously he doesn't have any stats because he's only pitched 2 games. And how does Pittsburgh hit righties? Well, we got 293. We got, outside of that, 287. So my thoughts are over 9, or I'm just taking straight up Pittsburgh underdog. That's, Philadelphia as a slight favorite. That's the only 2 things I'm thinking, because I think we'll look at team totals too. We'll do that. Let's pop over there now. Let's just straight up. Before we even jump into props, we will go over here. We'll go to team props. We'll go to Philly runs over half. That's funny. Over 3.5 is 200. Over 4.5 is 130. Okay, that's cool. Let's back up some props real quick. Now I can't really do props. That's the thing, because he only has 1 game, so I can't do props for Phillips. And Gonzalez has 2 games in the last bit, so I really can't do his either. So props are out for these 2 dudes. Do I want to take a team total over or 4.5, or do I want to take the Philly money line here? I think Philly gets some hits off the dude. Does he have a hit prop? He does. It's 5.5. Ooh, go back to the props. Yeah, it's 5.5 for Gonzalez hits allowed. He's been trending up. Last game was, he gave 7 hits to the White Sox. Oh, come on. That's not good. Yeah, 5.5. Yeah, I'm going to take Gonzalez over 5.5 hits allowed. I think the Phillies just tee off on him because they like those lefties. Outside of that, I lean Philly. We're going to take Philly money line too. We're just going to do it. I need to get some money lines in there. I like them enough. I think the pitchers are close enough evenly. So we're going to take Philly in the money line, which is like 130 or something right now. Yeah, 130 is the best number you can get. Outside of that, We're going to add Gonzalez over 5.5 hits allowed and move to the next game. All right, next up, we got Detroit and Toronto. We have Toronto's a pretty heavy favorite at home. 8 is your total. Looking at the numbers, 54.0% Nerfy based on what they've done this year. Both teams 5.3 and 5 on the runs per game, both top 9. 248 and 260, 10th and 11th respectively. So you can see both offenses doing pretty good. So Nerfy's off the table. We don't take Nerfy's with high octane offenses. So looking at the pitchers, we got Montero going out there. 7-5, 3-6-2, 5-5-5. You can see that's always done since May. 4 games. Nothing. I mean, he's up and down. So Gausman's going out there for Toronto and has not faced Detroit, so you can see the stats. He gives up some runs. That's what he does too. So to me, there's really no clear advantage in pitching in this one to me. So yeah, no advantage there. So no advantage pitching, no advantage hitting. Nothing's really standing out. So let's look a little dig deeper into the pitching matchup, see if we got anything. Montero has no stats against Detroit dudes. Toronto hits righties like this. 364, 319 for Horowitz, 297 for Vladdy. Outside of that, a lot of 2s, some 1s, nothing really stands out. Look at the props real quick. Earned runs, strikeouts, pretty consistent. Hits, walks, and outs. So nothing's really standing out. Gausman, his history versus Detroit, no home runs, only a couple RBIs, pretty low averages. 231, 375, that's standing out. Nothing good. Detroit versus righties, again, nothing's really standing out. There's a couple high 290s. There's no 3s. There's some 1s. Not looking pretty. Looking at some props. We look at Ks. Nope. Hits, earned runs, walks, outs. Nothing is standing out. So I don't like any of the props. I don't like the size. I don't like the Nerfy. And I can't. What's the total? 8? With these bats, the bats are hot, but the pitches get runs. Ooh, I might take the over. Yeah, the over might have to be a play in this one. Who is this? In Toronto. Because I like the 8. 8's a good number because you get, once you hit 4-4, you win. So, because they got to score another run. So, and it's 110. We got 2 bats are pretty good. Offenses are pitchers like to give up some runs. Yeah, we'll do that. We are going to take the over of 8 in this game and just move on to the next one. Next up, we got the Padres and the Guardians. It's basically a pick 'em with a total of 8. Looking at the numbers, San Diego 19th and 20th in batting average and runs. Cleveland much worse, 2.3 and 178, including a smooth .037 average yesterday. The Cleveland offense is just abysmal right now. Atrocious, trash, garbage, whatever you want to call it. They're not good. So leaning San Diego slightly on the bats. Looking at the pitching, King's going out there. You can see his numbers. He had one rough game against Milwaukee, but outside of that, pretty good numbers. His counterpart, Lively, had a rough game against Detroit, and his games are not as great, but they're still pretty good. So I would lean King slightly in this one. So it gives me 2 slightly leans. Looking over at the props, we see Lively doesn't have much of a history against San Diego. San Diego likes to hit righties, though. Lots of green. Green means higher than your season average, which means San Diego struggles against lefties. So you can see the stats. You can see there are lots of green. Looking at the props, we are outs. I don't like that back-to-back right there. That would annoy me. That would upset me. So strikeouts, San Diego is the best team in the league when it comes to strikeouts. Now, they did strike out 11 times yesterday, but that's not saying like San Diego. San Diego and Kansas City are always top 2 or 3 in strikeouts because they just don't do it. Look at it, 7 strikeouts for the past 2 weeks, top 3. That's what they do. So Cleveland's in this group too. Cleveland's top. If there's a top 5, these 2 teams, Kansas City, there's a couple others I can't remember right now, but these 3 for sure. So I'm going to pass on this because this is a hook in the good direction, a good hook. You take away that hook, it's 5-5. I'm going to pass. I don't trust Lively to get 4 strikeouts. I just don't do it. So hits, earned runs, walks, none of that. Looking at King, his history against Cleveland, not much of a history either. Cleveland versus righties, you can see also some green, 258, 146. Hey, it's green's green, right? You can see Kwan's a little worse. He likes lefties more, so you can see the stats. Look at the props. We see outs Down here, strikeouts, good bit of strikeouts, but again, Cleveland doesn't strike out either. See, I can't trust these strikeouts. I need teams that strike out a good bit if I'm gonna take a strikeout prop. Hits, yeah, you see those. Earned runs, walks, you can see all that. The only thing I am kind of looking at is the under of hits, because you see the under is over under 5.5. It's hit the under 8 out of 10, and we know how bad Cleveland's offense is currently. So for me, I'm going to take King under 5.5 hits allowed, because we're just going to fade Cleveland's offense in this one. Also, I was thinking about taking San Diego money line, but I don't want to double dip, because if I think if King hits this prop, they win the game. But if he doesn't, I don't want to double dip and have a win, double loss. So I'm just going to take King prop on this one, under 5.5 hits allowed. I would lean San Diego money line because of the pitching and the hitting differences, but we'll leave that alone and just move on to the next game. All right, next up, New York and Miami. The Mets are a pretty moderate favor on the road, 8.5 pitches total. Looking at the bats, you can see 3.3 versus 3 in runs per game recently. Not much of an advantage. 248, 237. Again, not much of an advantage. Both slight leans to New York. Looking at pitching, we have Christian Scott going out there for the Mets, 4.36 with a 1.11. Has faced the Marlins, 4 innings, 7-4 back on May 17th. This is too far back. I care about what you've done recently. You didn't pitch at all in the month of June, so I like to see what you've done recently in these 3 games. Rogers, however, has not faced the Mets. He has been balling out. 6-3 is his worst game on the screen. That's it. So dude's been pretty good in the last few, last 6-7 games here. So the only problem is apparently the Mets like to hit lefties from what I understand. So you can see the history. Alonso has 2 home runs and 17 at bats. The problem is he has a 118 average. So it's either a home run or out. That's what you're going to get with him. So you can see the rest of it. The lefties, look at all this green. Oh my goodness. We got 3. Everybody's green. They love them some lefties in New York. So you can see the numbers there. They're not too impressive, but they're still better than righties. So they like them some lefties. And looking at some props, outs, you can see the numbers, strikeouts, hits, earned runs. Nothing is really standing out here. Scott, on the other hand, has a slight history. Fortes has a home run. Outside that, nothing else really. Righties, you can see how they do. It's about 50-50 split. Nothing's really standing out here in this one. And look at the props here. Earned runs, strikeouts, hits, walks, outs. Again, nothing is standing out. So for this one, I don't see an advantage in the pitching, really. I lean Rogers, but the Mets like to hit lefties, so that takes away the advantage. I don't see an advantage with the bats at all. I don't see a nerfy. I don't see nothing in this game. I'm going to completely pass on this game and just move on to the next one. All right, next up, we got the White Sox and the Royals. We got the Royals as a heavy favorite at home. 8 is your total. Looking at the bats, 2 and 5.7. Clear advantage for KC. 240 versus 266. Moderate, slight advantage for KC in the batting average. So Chicago's struggling to score runs, but they're not having a problem getting people on base. That's the thing. And KC's offense is top 10 right now. So looking at the pitchers, Lugo, Mr. All-Star is going out there. Mr. All-Star had a rough little go last game. Before that, 10-5, and you can see the stats there. A couple great games and 6-2. You can see the numbers. And Thorpe, on the other hand, he's going out there for Chicago. Still ain't got no pitcher for the dude. Come on, ESPN, step up your game. Give him a pitcher. So give the pitcher a pitcher. That's what I'm saying. 3-2, 3-1, 2-2. Dude's got some good numbers for last 4 games. This was rough against Arizona, but outside of that, dude's been stellar for the last few games for the Shy Sox. Hell, in the last 5 games, I say he's his best pitcher over Crochet based on these numbers alone. I don't think you ever hear someone say that, right? Yeah, Thorpe's been balling. So let's look at some props. Let's see, Lugo history against the Sox. No home runs. We got some green, a bunch of 3s, 6 at bats. So you can see White Sox kind of like hitting them. Been this forever. Against righties, the white means they're right on their season average, red below, green above. And you can see it's a mixed bag. Looking at some props, outs, 18.5. Come on. If it was 17.5 all day, that's why it's 18.5. Strikeouts. Chicago's middle of the road strikeouts. Nope, pass on that. Hits, he gave 10. Dude gives us some hits. That's the only thing I like about Lugo. He gives us some hits. Sometimes he pitches great. Earned runs, I no 1.5. Come on, I can't do that. It's crazy, crazy numbers for Lugo. Thorpe, on the other hand, has not had much. Obviously, Royals against righties, they don't do that well against righties. They do better against lefties. Honestly, they do well. They just do better. 280, 279, 330 for Wits. You can see he likes lefties better. So you can see the numbers here. Let's look at some props. 18 against Casey's offense. I don't know if he gets 17. I don't know. He's been pitching great, but this is where he got rocked. He only got 10. So I don't know. Strikeouts, 2.5. How? Casey's one of those teams that doesn't strike out much, so no shot. Hits allowed. He's been great. His worst game was 6, and numbers 5.5. I can't do that. Come on, guys. Crazy. 2.5 earned runs. He's been great. I'm going to pass on that. So I'm passing on the props. Coming back over to the odds. Obviously, I like Casey moneyline. I'll throw him in a parlay, sure. I'll take Casey moneyline. And I think also I'm going to take KC run line. I'm going to take them minus 1.5 today. I think, no, nah. We'll just put KC as a parlay piece at the end. KC money line. That's it. I don't like the total. I think Thorpe's pretty good. I think obviously we know Lugo's pretty good. He was an all-star. Outside of that, Thorpe's going to get rocked eventually. He might get rocked today. We'll just take KC money line. It's Sunday. Let's gamble. KC run line. Let's do it. 1.5. That's the worst thing you can say is, just go for it. We're going for it. Don't tail this. This is what I'm doing. KC money line, KC run line, next game. All right, next up, Arizona and Chicago. It is Chicago slightly favored, 7.5. And I'll tell you right now, this game is hard. I've been staring at this game for like 10 minutes trying to figure out what I want to do. This one, 53% Nerfy. Not taking a Nerfy. 5 versus 3.3, slight advantage Arizona on the offense. You can see because of runs and batting average. Looking at the pitchers, we got Shota, who's been great outside of this one game. He gives us some runs a couple times, but this game was just abysmal. And he got Brandon P. Pfaadt going out there. Great numbers overall. That's his worst game on the screen. Outside of that, you can see that one, but you can see the numbers are pretty good. To me, I don't see a clear advantage in either pitcher. They both look, they're fine. That's what they are. They're just fine. And the average is slightly lean Arizona. That makes it hard. So I can't really take a side, and the total is what? 7.5? Come on, I can't do that with these. No. 7.5. Both these pitchers pitch good enough to where they could shut things down easily. Now, if one gets blown up, the over's going to hit. But if both pitch what they're supposed to do, the under will hit. So see, it makes it hard. I need some clear advantages. And I've been looking at props too. That against Cubs history, we have a couple home runs for Swanson and Morel, but outside of that, not much. Cubs against righties. There's some green out there. 385, but that's only not many at bats. You can see the numbers. Looking at the props, earned runs. Dude's been pitching great. Strikeouts up and down, no shot. Hits is what I looked at. This is the only thing I looked at. But he's been pitching great. That was Atlanta. This was the Dodgers. So he shut down the 2 super teams of the season on the hit. So that just throws me off. It's weird. Walks, he hasn't walked nobody the last couple games. Outs, close, but see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You hook those, all of a sudden you're 4 and 6. See, I need more cushion. I need more, or I can trust. And Showed Up is even worse looking at things. Yeah, he hits these 3, but then no strikeouts. He's up and down. Hits, no. Earned runs, no. See, walks, no. See, nothing is really standing out for me in this one. Everything seems close. This is one of those games I just don't like. This vibe is off in this one to me. I don't like it at all. I'm going to pass on this one and move to the next one. All right, next up, Baltimore and Texas, another tough one. We have Texas as a slight favorite, 8.5 inches total. Looking at the numbers, 64.9 Nerfy based on what they've done this year. 7.7 offense for Baltimore and runs while batting 279. That ain't going to work for a Nerfy. Can't do that. Texas, 3 runs a game and batting 120. 120 as a team in the last 3, and that includes a 182 yesterday, which bumped up a little bit. So clear advantage Baltimore in the offense. So clear we can't take a Nerfy. Pitching wise, there's a clear advantage in pitching though. I think Haney, with these numbers, even though he's already faced Baltimore as well on June 30th, 5 hits, 2 and 10 Ks, This is way better than Kramer's numbers. Kramer's been blowing up this game. This game, 4-3 would be the worst game of the season for the last few games for Haney. So yeah, I would take Haney over Kramer easily. Clear advantage. So we have a clear advantage for Baltimore in batting, clear advantage Texas in pitching. The stats are there that they cancel each other out. It's impossible because the strengths are going against the strengths, the weaknesses are going against their weaknesses. We don't know what the hell is going to happen in this game. So pass on that all day. Nervy's a pass. Total's a pass. I dug around some props a little bit just to see. This is going to go quick. How they've done against Haney. You can see they've hit some home runs off Haney. Baltimore has. We got 2 and 10 at bats, 1 and 6 at bats, 1 and 7, 2 and 6 for Mountcastle. Mateo has 1. We look at the averages, how they've done. Batting 400, 10 at bats is good. So I'm taking a Baltimore dude to do something against Haney. I just don't know what. I'm thinking, I look at the lefties. Adley hasn't joined the party against Haney yet. He's batting 125 at 5 at bats, but he does love him some lefties. 378, almost 120 at bats, 7 over 1 OPS. I'm going to put Rutschman on the list for the home run total basis. So he'll go on there. If you want to take one of these, have fun. I'm going to take Adley to join the party because these numbers. I thought about Mountcastle, but that 378 is looking juicy, so I'll take that. We'll look at props real quick. I'm not taking any of these props. I'm going to tell you right now. I'm just going to show you them because people like to see them. Earned runs, you can see, walks, nah, maybe, no. Kramer, on the other hand, against Texas, you can see Simeon has a home run in 12 at bats, but nothing else is really standing out. And against righties, Texas does better against lefties. So so nothing's really standing out in this one. And we'll show props real quick because people like to see props. Boom. Strikeouts, hits, walks, and outs. So nothing's really standing out in this one. So for me, I'm going to pass this entire game. I will put Rutschman into the little home run total basis thing at the end. So, but that's it for this one. We're going to pass completely and move on. All right, next up, we got the Giants and the Rockies. We got San Fran as a slight to moderate favorite on the road. 10.5 total. Looking at the props, 53.4 based on what we've done this year. 3 versus 6.3 on the runs. Clear advantage Colorado with the offense. 204 versus 268. That is a 6.064 difference. Again, Colorado advantage. That's why they got a 3-game winning streak. And you see they both strike out a ton. So let's look at the pitchers. Birdsong's going out there for San Fran. Has not pitched more than 5 innings yet in his games. And you can see he gives up some runs. His last game was good. Minnesota was his best game. So he's getting better as he goes. Gomber's going out there for Colorado. You can see the numbers here. Got rocked against Minnesota, rocked against Houston, and kind of rocked against Cincy. Outside of that, pitched a little rocked against Milwaukee, so he gets rocked a good bit. So even though Colorado has the offensive advantage, I would say even though Birdsong's only done 4 games, he has the advantage of pitching. So again, those cancel out. So no side in this one. Total though is 10.5. Oof. The bats are good for Colorado. What I have noticed is that the Giants like to hit some lefties. This is Gomber. You can see what he's done historically. Soler has had 2 home runs and 6 at-bats. You can see the averages, the at-bats. Flores has 389 and 18 at-bats with 1 home run. I'm liking these against lefties. Lots of green, a lot of green out here. So I think San Fran might have a better day than the stats say because they are facing a lefty here. So that stands out there. We can look at some props real quick. The only prop that give me is strikeouts. Oh, I'd love to see a hit prop right now, but hey, we'll get what we can get. So 3.5 strikeouts. I don't, no, we'll pass on that. Birdsong, he doesn't have many stats, obviously. Against righties, Colorado is not the best. They're, up and down, more red than green. So you see those. Props, earned runs, strikeouts, hits and walks. 4 games, what are you going to do? So props are out in this one. Nothing's looking good. I don't like the side. And for the total, 10.5 is the only thing we have here. I think Birdsong's pretty good. I can't take a total either. That knocks everything out. Sunday's a weird day. It's always a weird day. I'm going to have to pass on this one too and just move on to the next game. All right, next up we have Angels and the Athletics. So let me just do this real quick. Bang. We got Oakland as a slight favorite at home, 9 is your total. Looking at the bats, I mean, the most largest discrepancy of the day. Oakland, #1 in offense. They are just cooking. 13 runs a game for Oakland in their last 3 games. That's how hot they've been. 10.5 in the last week, 7.4 in the last 15. They are just smoked. Look at the trend line. You can't even see. You see the tips of it. That's all you see. Averages 367 in the last three, 362. LA struggling 194 and 2.7. Now Oakland will come down, LA will come up eventually, but hopefully it's not today. So we can see massive advantage Oakland offense. And it's Oakland. Oakland does this. It's like the third time this year they've done this. So let's look at the pitchers. Carson Fulmer, a reliever, is going out there because Angels are having problems with their pitching rotation. So reliever day. So 4.2. He had a great 4.2 against Seattle. Against Oakland, he pitched 2 innings, 2 hits, pretty good. This dude's a good dude outside of this one game against Texas. So, and then Estes is going out there. He's faced the Angels twice, 3 and 2 with 8 Ks. A complete game 5, hit 4K against the Angels in the 2 games he faced since June 26th. So yeah, dude likes facing the Angels. That's definitely not a problem for him. So looking at the props, we have nothing for him. But I can look at the matchup, like how Angels have hit against them. So we can see, boop. Oakland hits righties pretty well. Lots of green. They like righties more than lefties, so they're facing a righty. And then they'll face some other bullpen people too. So I feel pretty good. We can't really even look at props. There's one thing, so I'm not going to look at those. Estes, on the other hand, a more established pitcher, if you will. Let's look at his matchup. Estes, historically, nothing against the Angels. And lots of red, which you like to see. Against righties, the Angels are just struggling. Angels are having a rough year. Let's put it that way. So, like, Chicago's having a bad year with the record, but there's potential with the players. I don't see much potential at all with the Angels. They're just struggling bad. So, oh yeah. So let's look at some props for Estes. Walks, no. Strikeouts, hits, earn runs, outs, that's up and down. So. Yeah, so not going to do any of those. We will come back to the bats. I am going to be taking Oakland money line for this one. Do I do it? I think I'm going to take Oakland run line too. I just think they're going to crush. We will pop back over here. Okay, so run line is plus 150. That's just a gamble. Let's look at the odds here and check out. Oh, went too far. Oakland team prop runs. Oakland over, what's your number? 4.5? That's it? Oof, okay. Team total over 4.5. Yeah, we'll do that instead of run line. So Oakland money line, it'll go in the parlay, and we'll do the team total over 4.5. That way we have a prop that can, just in case the bullpen's trash or something. So Oakland money line, team total over 4.5. Next game. All right, next up we got Houston and Seattle. You can see Seattle's a slight favorite. It's a pick 'em overall though. 7.5 is your total. Looking at the bats, 60.4 NRFI based on what they've done this year. They hit the NRFI yesterday. That was the only NRFI play I took, and it hit, so it was great. You can see why, because the offenses are terrible, especially Seattle. 1.3 batting 121 the last 3 games. Houston 3 with 192, so both teams are struggling. NRFI is 100% in play in this one. Look at the pitchers. We got Woo going out there. Woo struggled a little bit against the Angels, but before that, yeah, he was out a little bit with an injury. He came back, so Woo's good. I like Woo. He's not bad. So Blanco's going out there. Blanco's been pretty good himself. You can see nothing really stands out. I like both pitchers. I love that both teams are struggling offensively. We will run back the same NRFI as yesterday. So NRFI, one of the day. Probably the only NRFI of the day, to be honest. So that's, wow. Outside of that, we see the pitchers. We look at the matchups and the props and whatnot. I've already looked at the props. I'm not liking anything in there, but I will show everything in here. So historically, you can see what was done against the Astros. Not many at-bats. Astros against righties, you can see we got close to 300 for 3 guys. Got some green mixed in there. Here are the props: hits, strikeouts, earned runs, and walks. You can see nothing really looks that good. Nothing enticing there to jump onto. Blanco, his matchup historically against Seattle. You can see there's been some home runs. Polanco has one. Polanco off Polanco. That's hilarious. Moore has one. Crawford has one. So you can see the numbers. Not many at-bats though. Right against righties, you can see the numbers there, not too good. So, and earned runs, strikeouts, hits, walks, outs, nothing looks good. Outs kind of looks good, but 17.5 with 3 of these being 17 kind of worries me. So I'll lay off on that. So for me, I'm going to take it to Nerfy. 7.5, I lean under, but I'm going to take that Nerfy and just rock with 6 easy outs and move on to the last game. All right, last game, Sunday Night Baseball. We got Boston and the Dodgers. We got LA as a slight favorite at home. Do they not know the Boston record on Sunday is like 1,001? It's something crazy. I know it's like 14-1 or something crazy. So over under is 9. Looking at the bats, slight advantage Dodgers in the runs. Big advantage for Boston in the actual average, 300 versus 232. That's a big jump. They're both striking out a ton though. So looking at pitchers, we have Paxton going out there, has not faced Boston recently. His worst game was Pittsburgh, but you see that 2-1, rough game against San Fran, and a couple, so you can see that. Then Crawford going out there, 2 gems right there, 7-inning gems, 3-1. He's been getting better as he pitches. So yeah, I would give Boston the advantage in pitching, no doubt in this one. And batting, I would actually lean Boston a little bit on the bats too. The fact that Boston's the underdog, that is kind of funny. So let's look closer at the matchups. We got Paxton going out there. You can see the stats. History, Boston against Paxton. Devers has 17 at bats, bats 412. That's interesting. That's the only thing I'm really seeing there because no one else has anything, obviously. And Boston against lefties, you can see how they do. Nothing is O'Neill's 309, 301, 318 for Wong. That's interesting too. So, and you look at the props, you got strikeouts, hits allowed, earned runs, walks. None of these stand out to me, not even outs. Looking at Crawford, his outs stand out. I've already been through these, so that's how I know this. That, yeah, 17.5, it's already on my list. Cutter, PO, all day. Hits, not so much. Strikeouts, not so much. Earned runs, walks, nothing else. But the walks, I mean, the outs, definitely. That looks good. 17.5, I think he can get 6 innings against the Dodgers because we see the Dodgers, they're middle on stats. I don't see Cutter really getting rocked, so I'm definitely going to rock with that. We got to see his matchups against the Dodgers historically. We want the other guy. Thank you very much. There we go. Dodgers haven't done much against him historically, not many stats. And Dodgers versus righties. I mean, we got some red on there. Nothing's really standing out too much. Ohtani's 321. Yeah, sure. I feel like taking Ohtani because it's Sunday Night Baseball. But then again, I feel like taking, what was his name? Oh, was it Devers? Yeah. I think I'm gonna put Devers on my list, my hit list. I forgot to mention, I put Soler from San Fran. He's on the list. I just forgot to mention it when I got to the San Fran Colorado game. So Soler is on there. I'm also going to be adding Devers from Boston. That gives me Olsen from Atlanta, Soto, New York, Rushman from Baltimore, Soler, San Fran, Devers, Boston. I'm putting Ohtani. You got to put Ohtani. You got to put one of the big bats on there. So, I mean, Soto's on there, but yeah, Sunday Night Baseball, the stars tend to shine a little bit. So we'll do that. Devers and Ohtani. We'll do that. So that takes care of that. On the side, I am going to take Boston's underdog. You know what? Boston money line, underdog. It's what? Plus 105. I can get that. Yeah, I'll take that. So it's going to be Cutter, Crawford over, pitching outs, and Boston money line, and that's it. All right, that's it. All 15 games broken down, gave full breakdowns, things passed on a good bit. Let's be honest. This Sunday, weird things happened. Last Sunday was a terrible Sunday, so I'm kind of a little shell-shocked by that a little bit. But hey, if it don't look good, we passed. I passed on 5-6 games. Ooh. So drop a like, subscribe, share. Let me know in the comments what you're taking, because if I like something, I might tail it, because I don't have that many plays compared to usual, obviously. But hey, all right, rundown time for the rundown people. Milwaukee, Minnesota, we're going to take Ryan over 5.5 hits allowed. St. Louis, Atlanta, we're going to pass. Cincy, Washington, we're going to pass. Tampa Bay, New York, I'm taking Stroman and Baz both to get over 4.5 hits allowed. Philly and Pitt, we're going to go Gonzalez over 5.5 hits allowed, and Philly on the money line. Detroit and Toronto, over 8. That's it. San Diego, Cleveland, King, under 5.5 hits allowed. Mets and Marlins, pass. White Sox and KC, we're going to go KC money line, but also KC run line, -1.5. Arizona, Chicago, pass. Baltimore, Texas, pass. San Fran, Colorado, pass. LA, Oakland, I'm going Oakland money line. Oakland team total over 4.5. Houston, Seattle, Nerfy. Boston, Dodgers, Sunday Night Baseball, going Cutter over pitching outs. I think it's 17.5, just 6 full innings. And Boston on the money line. For the money line parlay, I'm going to go with the 4. I'm going Pittsburgh, I'm going Philly, Kansas City, Oakland, and even though Boston's a money line, I'm putting Boston in it for fun. So we're gonna have those 4 in the money line parlay. For the home run total bases, whatever you want to call it, I got 6 dudes. I'm going with Olsen from Atlanta, Soto from the Yankees, Adley Rutschman, how you say it, from Baltimore, Soler, however, San Francisco, Devers from Boston, and Ohtani from the Dodgers. Save the 2 dudes for the nightcap. So those are all the plays. Everything was there. If you watch the entire video, appreciate you watching. Appreciate you commenting, liking, subscribing, sharing, all that good stuff. And we will see you tomorrow. Peace.